I'm so excited to be talking to Geri Hirsch today, and we are going to learn a lot, laugh a lot, and we already got started, but we figured now we'd hit record. So obviously Success Redesigned is a podcast for people to understand kind of the way different people view success. And you have had a huge success. I've watched you since the way beginning, and we were just talking about how you're transitioning. And I guess I just want to hear about it all. How you started maybe is a good place.
Yeah, so I graduated from college in 2005, and I was at my first full-time real job. In fact, I had interviewed at BCBG right when I graduated from college, and I was like, oh my God, if I got a job here, that would be
I should have
amazing.
hired you right away.
I didn't get hired as the marketing coordinator. I was totally cool with it. I went and worked for Phil Anschutz at AEG as an analyst, and while I was struggling at a full-time job, my girlfriend, who was in law school in New York, sent me a link to my next ex-boyfriend.blogspot.com. And on my next ex-boyfriend, she wrote out all these hilarious dating stories while she was in law school in New York. And I was fascinated by the fact that she was publishing this information on the internet. Like, this is 2005. Like, how do you even start a website? I wanted to figure out how she did that. So I clicked on create blog, and I typed in because I'm addicted so randomly, haphazardly, never thinking it would be a business or that I'd eventually raise capital leveraging this brand. And I just started this little site, not thinking anyone was going to read it. And I maintained it every day as sort of a creative outlet. I almost treated it like a Facebook wall, what it is today. So I sent the link to my friends, and I would post funny things that I would find on the internet or cool fashion things. I'd write about our weekends and post, photos of us at all the clubs with celebrities or whatever, just being a young 20-something in LA. And then one day I got an email from Elise Lonan, who now is the head of Goop's editorial program. And at the time she was at Lucky Magazine, and she said, here at Lucky, we all love your blog. We'd love to feature you in a book.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my God, how does this girl even know that I have a blog? What? So I put on a site meter to see what my traffic was, and it was crazy. Like, people were actually reading this. So I started to take it a little more seriously, and I maintained it while always having full-time jobs until I raised capital to do Leaf TV, which was my startup, which I built and then eventually sold. And now I'm a mom. That's like the brief version.
It's a fast version. I think there's a lot of like hard work. Like,
oh yeah, no, it sounds so effortless.
It sounds effortless, but
it wasn't.
How even getting into the first steps, like discovering and learning something you didn't know what to do. What was that like? Like, just like giving it a go.
That's like where I thrive. I always do really well when it comes to figuring out something new and starting from the ground up. And I had no idea that it would ever be an industry, that other girls would do this, that Instagram would become a platform that people use every day, and that Twitter would launch. None of these things even existed yet. So I think I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, and I wasn't self-conscious, or I didn't have self-awareness about it because it was so new, which I think afforded me a luxury that today, if you start, you're like, how do I make the perfect content, and how do I get people to follow me? And you obsess over it. And I was just figuring out this new concept, really.
That's crazy. And when did you become a mom?
I became a mom on January 26th of this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's little.
She's little. She's going to be 6 months. We're actually starting solids in like 2 weeks.
Yay!
I can't believe. I'm like, how is it already 6 months?
How do you balance? How are you finding it? How are you finding that? Kind of doing both.
I think I'm figuring it out, to be honest. I felt like I had so much balance in my life, and then I had a child, and that child needs 100% of you. So figuring out what is my new balance when I have to give 100% of myself to a person is what makes being a new mom hard. So I'm figuring it out. I think a lot of it is understanding what my priorities are and saying no to a lot, so that I'm there for her. And
that's a big girl thing, saying no to something.
Oh yeah, a lot of no's, and a lot of, why don't you come to my house for drinks or for a meeting, or because I have a babysitter a couple hours a week, but like, I want to be doing the raising, and I want to be with her, and so I'm figuring it out.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's so beautiful. It's amazing to see. a lot of people around us both, I guess, who are having kids and kind of trying to strike that balance. And we had Nicole here a couple weeks ago, and she was saying the same thing. It's like you really have to prioritize, and like, you know, you might not be the best at it, but you just you do what you can, you do your best.
Yeah.
And what about being married? How does that play into the workspace?
Well, I mean, being married is like, it's the best. I'm obsessed with my husband, but I feel like our relationship is, it's different now that we have a child because it's all about her and her schedule. So it's like we're figuring that out too. But you know, the thing I keep reminding myself, even when days are hard, is like this is so temporary, and she's only young for so long, and then she's in school full time, and then like, you know, so it's like, yeah, our marriage maybe isn't it's not, there's no problems at all, but it's not like we're spending, we're not like out at Sunset Tower and like traveling
doing all
together.
the things you guys should be doing that everybody else is doing.
Yeah, exactly. But like we're doing what we want to be doing, and we love our little family.
Exactly. I speak to friends and they're like, well, all our friends are going to Aspen and then they're all doing this, and I'm like, I haven't gone anywhere. Like I'm working so hard, like, and like you said, it's so temporary that not only do you have to balance it all, but you have to actually like enjoy it. Like
totally. We're actually going to Europe next month. We're taking our child with us.
That's big.
If she goes everywhere we go. So we're figuring out our new normal.
The new normal. Amazing. And maybe talk a little bit about your blog and kind of how you got started there. And you know, maybe why so many people like love your style. Like I know I follow you and I love seeing what you're doing, and the fact that you incorporated your baby into it. Like, what's that about?
So when I started this blog in 2005, the blog is called Because I'm Addicted. I was just sort of covering what I was interested in, and that's always been what it is to me. So now, you know, for the last like 7 years, I've been really interested in health and wellness, and I went to culinary school for a short period, and I like shared that. I'm really just sort of sharing what is happening in my life and what my interests are. And I think when something is really authentic and you can feel it, and people are really like living a specific lifestyle that you're interested in, you gravitate towards it because it's real. It's not, I don't know, I feel like so much on Instagram and social media is smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
And when you could see that something's genuine, I think it's different. And it's like, you know, the blog has always been a hobby. It only became my full-time job in the last like year. And I've been doing this for 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was never trying to make it be anything that it wasn't. It always was my little space on the internet to share all the things that I'm passionate about. Like I love writing the posts and sharing things. And same thing with, you know, becoming pregnant and sharing. You know, a lot of people wanted to know what products I use or how I'm taking care of myself, because I, you know, have a very specific approach to my lifestyle, and it's just fun to share.
It's fun, and you, I think that you say it perfectly. It's like it's a lot about authenticity, and I think that's why you create like an audience that's really connected to what you're going through. And even if the blog evolves, and even if your Instagram evolves, and now it's all baby stuff and Sophie the giraffe and like like real world, but it can still be beautiful and viewed in a way that, you know, people love to take in stuff through their eyes and the creativity behind it, and take a beautiful picture of you and your daughter, you know. And so that authenticity, I think, keeps everybody really engaged.
I hope so.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been great watching you journey, you know, from like really fashion and building a business to having a child. It's so crazy. What sign are you?
I'm a Leo. Okay. My daughter's name is actually Leo.
Oh, amazing.
But not because of my sign.
Do you think it plays a role?
In her personality?
In your business? In
being a Leo?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think so. I feel like if I were to read my horoscope, I'm always like, yeah, that's so me. But like, I don't really know a ton about the signs. Do you?
I do know about Leo because I happen to be on the cusp. Yeah, I'm on the cusp of Cancer and Leo, July 21st.
Oh,
so yeah. Thank you. So you see, so like I feel like people always tell me like you're so protective and you're so loyal and you're so this and you're so that, and some people attach it to signs, some people don't. But I do tend to see some Leos kind of coming out there and like really trying things and being dedicated to them. Another thing I want to touch upon that I love that you said, and I think that people would really appreciate it, is that sometimes when you want to kind of venture into something, do you have to do it full time? Like a girl called me this week and she wants to be a stylist. And she's like, I feel like if I don't quit my job, then I'm never going to become a stylist. And I feel like that's a lot of pressure because not everybody can afford to just leave what they're doing and then just go out and do something else.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit more about like the fact that you were doing your blog like for a few minutes a day or 10 minutes a day? I think that's like really important because you were able to compartmentalize, grow it, and then kind of take a step into it.
You know, I kind of come from the mindset of like, if you really want something, you're going to make it work no matter what. And I'm not necessarily an all or nothing kind of girl. I believe like, you know, there are 24 hours in the day. How are you going to use that time? What are you going to sacrifice in order to try to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish? Obviously, there's certain things like going and having to start as an assistant in entertainment and work your way up that require full time. But I think for small hobbies like a blog or maybe styling some shoots, figuring out if you like it, getting your toes wet, it depends on the circumstance.
It does.
I think. But
because sometimes it feels good to jump too, huh?
Yeah. It
yeah.
kind of depends on what it is. I mean, like being a mom, you're jumping all the way in. There's no halfway. But like maybe the styling example is like, I don't know.
Something you can kind of.
Yeah, but I do think that you now, especially like people are so many different things. They like have a big Instagram account, and they have a YouTube channel, and they have a clothing line, and everyone is an entrepreneur and marketing themselves and doing so many things. And I feel like now more than ever, you are able to do a lot, without fully committing to one exact thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Are you a travel person?
Travel? Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
You love it?
I love to travel.
So it's going to be interesting to see with your daughter what that's going to be.
Yeah, well, we actually were just in Alabama, where my husband's family goes every summer, and that was our first time taking her on a plane and, like, packing all the things, and, like, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from this trip, which was a good dry run for Europe, because I can't imagine schlepping a 70-pound suitcase around. I did for this trip.
Amazing. Success is a lot about learning.
Right.
Success is about trying things and just learning from your failures and your wins. Is there somebody that you look up to that is really successful? Maybe that in your career you're like, okay, she's got it figured out. Like, let me channel my inner, somebody or.
Yeah, there's different people who I admire different things about. Like, I think Catherine Power is such a powerhouse, and I love what she and Hillary Kerr have built with Who What Wear, and I look up to both of them in different sort of ways. It's a good question.
She's amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
And they seem to have it all. They like have friends, and they go out and they have fun. And now they both have children, and they haven't lost themselves in any one specific area. I feel like they feel well rounded.
Yeah. Very good. And anybody else in your personal life that kind of?
I'm trying to think. It's like a really good question. Who do you admire?
Nobody's ever asked me that one. I'm usually the one asking. I admire just mothers, period.
Yeah.
Like if I could like bucket them all, I think that I think being a mother like brings out a lot of stuff in you, and it brings out the part that fails sometimes, and it brings out like frustration, and it builds, and it brings out like wins and feeling like you're just really on the right path. And sometimes when it gets stressful for me, I say like, there are women out there with like 10 kids who like have to go out and like work, and like, so like, for me, there's something about being a mom and looking at other moms, and I'm in a community of women who have a lot of kids, and I draw inspiration from that. I'm always like, well, if my neighbor can do it, I can do it.
I'm looking at you thinking, how do you have 6 kids and you run this amazing business, and then you still have time to do this podcast?
The podcast, again, is like one of those things where I felt very much like you. It's like, if I can make it manageable, like my dreams to get people to listen to people and how they've built their success and how it's a little different for everybody, and how some people are really unsure where they're at and some people are super excited, and and that everything's okay. I think part of it's just doing, just like getting out there and getting started. People ask me like, how'd you start a podcast? I'm like, we hooked up some mics and
you have an amazing setup here. I'm like, this is so pro.
It's amazing.
This is legit.
It's amazing.
I love the gold microphones.
Yes, gold microphones.
I mean, it's very editorial.
It's really good. It's really, really good. Is there anything that people ask you, like, you know, I don't know if like some of the people who follow you ask you about all the time, or like any wellness tips that you have, or anything fun that you want to share with people?
I get so many questions every day. It's crazy. I actually started a private Facebook group because I get so many of the same questions. So now I'll try to push everyone there because everyone wants all the answers. So
right.
Like people like, what podcasts do you listen? Like if I ask everyone wants to know what
you do. Yeah.
To. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people ask a lot about like what my wellness routine is like, or you know, how to find balance in your life, which I used to be able to answer that question very clearly, but now that I'm a mom, I'm like, I don't know. I'm finding my new balance. Yeah. So a lot of wellness questions.
What's your routine in the morning? Are you an early morning girl, or are you like to sleep in?
Well, you know, I used to wake up every morning and do transcendental meditation.
Whoa.
Which I would do twice a day. My husband had a very traumatic, like near-death experience, and like I had really bad PTSD from it. So I started meditating to help sort of deal with all of that post-traumatic stress. So I would wake up and I meditated, and I would like drink hot water with lemon and make a very healthy breakfast, and I would work out. Like I did all of the things. And now that I have a baby, I'm like up half asleep whenever she's ready to feed, whether that's 5, 6.
You're meditating while you're nursing, like.
Yeah, I haven't really been meditating that much, but my time now for myself is really sort of like she goes to bed at 7, so I have a couple hours from then until I go to sleep, and that's sort of when I get my me time. Yeah, but that's okay. I'm like more than happy to sacrifice all of the self-indulgent wellness practices to raise a beautiful human,
which is part of wellness in itself.
Yeah,
it's like healing and beautiful. I came to an all-time low the other night because I haven't been able to work out since I had my last baby, but I was like literally pushing her stroller with my legs and like doing like half sit-ups. Like I was like, I'm working out. This is me putting her to sleep.
Yeah, that was my witching hour move. Like I would do squats and try to like get her to
go to
stop
sleep.
Crying. Yeah, you do what you gotta do.
Exactly. Anyways, thank you so much for spending a little time and sharing. We're big fans. We'll continue to follow and see where the journey takes you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So fun.
It's easy.
Yeah.